Members, the point of order raised by Senator Williams deals with whether a member can assist another member during a filibuster. And the precedents and the rules clearly show that you can't lean on your desk. You've got to stay within, what, a couple feet, 3 feet of the desk. And during a filibuster, previous rulings have dealt with the comfort of a member during a filibuster. Now, while we've never seen an incident like this and a point of order raised like this, I think this point of order addresses the issue of the comfort of a member, and I think should be put to the body. So I'm going to start off with comment. I'm going to recognize. All right. Chair recognizes Senator Ellis to speak on the point of order.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. I think the real issue here is whether or not this body respects the tradition of a filibuster or not. Now, here are the real rules of engagement. A majority of the members on this floor decide all of the power in this body. A majority of the members on this floor even decides who presides over the body. Anything that we do, any traditions that we have can be trumped by 16 votes. Now, I have not been here as long as two other members on the floor, but I've been here for a very long time. As a staffer back in the mid-'70s, I remember when a distinguished Republican member of this body engaged in the longest filibuster that has been recorded in a state legislature in the history of the country. Maybe one of the longest one-person filibusters in the history of not only state legislatures, but the federal legislature as well. Senator Bill Meyer from the Tarrant County area, I believe. At one point, back then, we didn't have the technology that we have today, and he needed to take a break. But he was so passionate about the issue, whatever it was. As a young law student or at the OBJ school, I can't remember what it was, but obviously he was very passionate about it. At one point, he had to take a break and wouldn't leave the floor. And so the members of the Senate, most of them were Democrats back then, stood around his desk. Now, I was in the gallery, but I clearly remember these same wooden trash cans that we have today. And some member of the opposing party was kind enough, dignified enough, respected this body and its traditions enough to organize his colleagues in both parties to stand around him in a circle so that he could make the appropriate things that had to be put in place so he could continue his some 40-hour filibuster. Now, remember, that's where we're really headed here. At any point, some member could make a motion, be recognized by the presiding officer, and 16 votes, so if we don't have 31 here, majority of whatever is here, as long as we have a quorum, would decide you just shut off the filibuster. Now, I've seen that happen from time to time, but it has not been when it's been an issue that has been something that members felt this strongly about on either side of the political aisle or the philosophical aisle. I've seen that happen when somebody has not recognized the tradition of sending a letter in saying that I will filibuster. And a member would just get angry 2 or 3 days in a row and decide, well, I'm going to filibuster this one, I'll filibuster that one. That has happened while many of you have been here on this floor. I won't call the names of the members, but I can remember at least 2 times that has happened to members. I can remember times in the past when members would pass some ice chips, or someone would pass some lifesavers to someone. Usually, I might add, it would be someone who didn't agree with the position of the person who was filibustering. Remember, that's really what this is about. What goes around tends to come around. If you don't respect the filibuster tradition, hey, I've carried that gaming legislation a number of years. Senator Corona has made progress with it as well. There'll be members on this body who feel very strongly and adamantly against that legislation. And let me tell you, even if I'm carrying the bill, I would respect that member's right to use the tool of the filibuster to kill that bill or to stop that bill and make a point. So, members, that's really what it's all about. We've changed a lot of traditions in this body over the last several years. And I just want to encourage you, when you get ready to cast your vote, you're not going to get reelected or elected based on this one vote. If you think it's going to hurt you that much, if you vote your conscience instead of what you're getting from your political analysts or staffers that may think they can tell you what the thing is you ought to do to make it safe, at some point you got to decide, is winning everything? Is winning everything, or do traditions in this body mean something to you? So based on that, I would respectfully, as a member of this family, and it's a great family, on my worst days around here, I can't think of a greater honor in my life than being one of the 31 members of the Texas Senate. And I want to ask you, I want to plead with you, don't destroy the few traditions that we've left in place in this body. Winning that one issue is not everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Ellis.
President.
Senator Zaffirini.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President.
You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President and members, I agree wholeheartedly with Senator Ellis and endorse every word that he said. In the 27 years that I have served in the Texas Senate, and the years before that when I worked with Senator Wayne Conley, I saw firsthand the traditions of this Senate to support and to honor a person who was engaged in the filibuster, regardless of what side a senator was on. The question today focuses on specifically Article 4 of our rules, decorum and debate of members of the Senate, members to address the President. Specifically, Senator Williams has raised an issue related to Rule 4.01. Allow me to read it to you. This is the rule and the only essence of this rule. When a senator is about to speak in debate or to communicate any matter to the Senate, the member shall rise in his or her place and address the President of the Senate. That is the rule. There is no other part of this rule. Allow me to repeat it. When a senator is about to speak in debate or to communicate any matter to the Senate, the member shall rise in his or her place and address the President of the Senate. Everything that Senator Davis has done is consistent with that rule. Now, granted, there is an editorial note, but it is only an editorial note. Allow me to read that to you. A member who desires to speak on a pending question should address the chair, and having obtained recognition, may speak in an orderly and parliamentary way and subject to the rules of the Senate as long as he desires. Everything Senator Davis has done is consistent with that editorial note. Now, there are notes on two rulings. Those rulings were given 44 years ago in 1969. They are not rules. They are simply notes about another lieutenant governor's rules in 1969, again, 44 years ago. The first note is this. When a member has been recognized and is speaking on a motion to re-refer a bill, he must stand upright at his desk and may not lean thereon. Senator Davis has not leaned on her desk, and you know it because many of you are watching her every move. Her every move. She has not leaned on her desk. The other note is this. When a member has the floor and is speaking on a bill or resolution, he must stand upright at his desk and may not lean or sit on his desk or chair. Senator Davis has not leaned on her desk. She has not sat on her desk. She has not sat on her chair. And I might note, Mr. President, she's a woman. The note refers to his desk, his chair. So I would argue that this rule does not apply to Senator Davis. So members, let's be literal about this. Let's be fair. Let's honor the tradition of the Texas Senate. And let's abide by the letter of the rule. Open your book. Look at your rule. Read it. And understand that everything Senator Davis has done is consistent with the rule of the Senate. Please read the rule. Realize how specific it is. and honor this member and honor the tradition of the Senate. Senator Davis, I applaud you for your understanding of the rules and for your being consistent with them in every way. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you, Mr. President and members.
Senator Zaffarini. Senator Whitmire, you wanted to speak last. Is that what I heard? All right. The chair recognizes Senator Williams. Well, Senator Whitmire wished to speak last, but.
Well, I think I brought the motion. I think I have the right to close. That's what all I want to do is close, and then I'll have to make a motion to call for the vote, if that would please the chair.
Senator Whitmire, I'm going to go ahead and recognize you, please.
Perfect. Members, it's kind of sad that we would normally have a Senate caucus to resolve some of these matters, but we've allowed this issue and the politics surrounding today's deliberations to really kind of prevent us from having a Senate caucus, because normally we'd caucus, discuss procedural matters, scheduling, relationships, and we'd come out as a family that we're often referred to. But I haven't called a caucus because I didn't know what the end game was, Senator Williams. Normally when we have a caucus, we know what the considerations are, and we decide that we're going to definitely come out with positive results and respect. But this week, you notice we haven't had a caucus. I've had a couple of people ask me, one Senator Hager, this would probably be an excellent opportunity for us to have a caucus, and I would actually entertain that matter. But we find ourselves considering this point of order, and I cannot do a better job than Senator Ellis reflecting on the traditions of the Senate. My good friend, second behind me in most seniority, Senator Zaffarini, talked about how we've assisted one another during debates. Senator Gonzalo Barrientos went 21 hours. People gave him ice cubes. I gave him some candy mints. The tradition of this body has been to assist another senator in being an effective senator representing his or her district and the people of Texas. And we're very close to leaving that Senate tradition. Senator Williams, I have the highest respect for you. I've gone on and on this spring and this summer about the fine job you've done leading us and actually bringing us together, producing a budget. I think, members, if we need to slow down right this moment and recognize what this very emotional issue is doing to this body, the politics of this issue, what it's doing to this body, and we must stop in our tracks and take a deep breath and look each other in the eye and remember the relationships, how we have gone to each other's children's services, how we've gone to each other's children's graduations. We weren't this tough on one another in trying to destroy this process during the days that we were in Albuquerque. Senator Duncan, you came to Albuquerque to talk to us, to assist us in reaching a compromise and coming back to the state because of the damage it was doing to this body. We're worse off today than we were 35 days in Albuquerque because then we were still respecting each other. I urge you, let's slow down. I can go back to when I got here in 1983 and tell you darn near every filibuster. Each one was unique. Each one was special. Even if you opposed the person's position, you were still kind to them. You still respected them as a senator. You knew what they go through to get here. You know what it does to their families while they're gone for 140 days. Put back the face of the body that we work on a daily basis. We'll be here to midnight tonight. We respect one another, and we've lost it. So let's slow down for a moment. Senator Davis, I've heard people on the opposing side grudgingly say she's doing an outstanding job. People of all persuasions in this body are respecting you now because you've been very statesmanlike, doing something that I know most of us couldn't do. I think there's some resentment here because there's some members either don't have the courage or the physical or the capabilities to do it. There's admiration there. But what has happened, members, without going into the details of the issue before us, did Senator Ellis hand her a back break or did not? Remember the other day when I was talking to you about an issue and I said I most often on issues and in my personal daily life say I put it to the greater good test. Could I ask you to put this issue to the greater good test? What is the greater good? First of all, members, if she's found in violation, Senator Williams, it's going to be the second warning. Not going to take her off the floor. So you're not going to get the greater good of removing her from the floor. But isn't there a greater good of respecting a woman? Isn't it a greater good of respecting a colleague that asked someone to do something that she could have done for herself? Senator Ellis, you're the one we ought to be angry at. She didn't need your help. You didn't assist her. You made the mistake of being a gentleman and a colleague, of handing her something from behind the brass rail, and then when she began to place it on her waist, you apparently made contact. Violation, Senator Ellis. Don't do it again. Members, the tradition of this body is you reach out and assist one another. We've had a great regular session. It's unfortunate that we find ourselves in a special. It's unfortunate that we find ourselves dealing with an emotional issue. And this, before Senator Williams, I would say, members, separate the emotion of the issue, which will be resolved sooner than later. And quite frankly, members, there's a right way to do something and there's a wrong way. I think you know you have the votes in a special session to pass this piece of legislation, which I oppose. If you don't complete it tonight, it's none of our fault that it was placed in the call 2 weeks into the special, that the House spent more time than maybe was anticipated. If we don't finish it tonight, we can start back at the call of the governor's message, and ultimately you probably have the votes, unfortunately, to pass this. So this is not an up or down position on this issue, which is yet to be resolved. This is about the dignity of the body, the integrity of the body, and I would ask you, don't let this be a partisan vote. Don't let this be a vote whether you're for or against Senate Bill 5. Let this be a vote on the respect, the tradition of this body, and quite frankly, I will close by saying, when I sit down, regardless of how this vote is resolved, can we not commit ourselves to going through the remainder of these considerations without personal attacks? Senator Nichols, can we just agree to let her finish her filibuster? It is a legislative procedure that historically in this body separates us from other bodies. That's why we're not, in all due respect, the Texas House of Representatives. They raise points of orders on each other regularly. We allow people to file bills after the constitutional deadline. We try to assist each other in being effective representatives of our district. Some 800,000 plus people depend on each and every one of us. So I will say, Mr. President, under oath, if necessary, I have seen the tradition of this body allow what took place on that side of the chamber where Senator Ellis assisted by giving her something that she could do herself. She did not lean. She did not sit. She's been an outstanding state senator that in the tradition of this body, if we even disagree with her, we ought to respect her convictions and her opportunity to represent her district and her point of views. Members, do what is the greater good in respecting a colleague, and let's finish this debate tonight honorably.
Senator Whitmire, I don't think anyone's questioning their respect, and I'm not going to get into a dialogue. I think we all respect Senator Davis, and I agree. I think she's doing a good job, although I disagree with her, but I think she's doing a good job. Senator Lucio, for what purpose do you rise?
Very briefly, to make a comment, Mr. President.
You're not recognized. We had 3 comments by